Traveling to other worlds is all that anyone seems to be writing about these days. Goodness, show them. Ha! Right here, emerge. Huh? Hit.
There's a hidden door here? And a whole basement behind it? Huh. You're pretty good at hiding stuff, Risley.
It seems you forgot.
Personally, I think the idea of things...
Stand on the central plate.
Wait, is there a secret mechanism or... Whoa! So, this is the Forbidden Zone? Honestly, for a place so well hidden, Paimon sure doesn't see anything special. What a huge door!
There are three. Am I correct to assume you're going to run on back and tell your little Fatui friends everything?
Well,
Well, I'd advise you.
Drop! Ha! Huh. So there's a switch up.
Stand back.
Whoa! They all just went up one by one.
Go on, have a look. I've been interested in what lies beyond that gate ever since I assumed leadership of the Fortress of Meripede. Of course, it would be unwise to recklessly open it, but it'd also be risky and negligent to simply... The readings on that dashboard have not budged since the day when I first laid eyes on this place. But over the past year, the needle has crept upwards from its original position, likely because some parameter it's been tracking has changed, if only infinitesimally. Normally, I would have ignored it, but I happened to have some free time when I noticed it, so I investigated. Any guesses what the reading could be? Very reasonable guesses. I've considered the temperature should vary with weather and climate changes, so for something that rarely shifts, the water pressure is more likely. We ran a few... Later on, a few more possibilities occurred to me, such as a potential connection with the... Over the past few days, the needle has moved again. With that, and the symptoms that Fremine displayed after leaving the fortress, I can...
The concentration of primordial...
And that is precisely the problem. We're at the bottom of the sea, and now we're surrounded by toxic seawater. Yes, that's very likely.
But forget about the two of us. Not even know... Oh.
Seems like you've figured it out. I believe the primordial sea lies directly beneath this sluice gate. The indicators are now red. Although the gate still stands, some primordial seawater has already leaked out and mixed into the sea around. If this continues, soon it will no longer be able to hold back the primordial sea at all. Yeah, you know what the legends say. If this place falls, then everyone in Fontaine...
But that's just too weird! Why would the Fortress of Meripede be built right above a sluice gate for the...
Your expression tells me you think this might be part of a vast, complicated conspiracy. It's just that the secret of the Forbidden Zone had been long forgotten by the nation before I read this. There's no single founder of the Fortress of Meripede in any traditional sense. What we know about its history, when the previous Hydro Archon, Egeria, ruled the land, all convicted criminals from Fontaine... The criminals received no sympathy of any kind from the people. They were exiled to the desolate seaside, where they experienced only pain, struggle, and the bone-chilling cold. Some of them began to repent, and prayed to the Hydro Archon, asking if there was still anything they could do. The Hydro Archon took pity on them, and said, "You may go guard my secret, deep underneath the waves." And so, leaning on the power of the Hydro Archon, they gathered underneath the sea and began to build a fortress. They became a community down there in the deeps, and over the years helped it to grow. As the number of exiles increased, more and more people joined the community. When the first group of exiles died, they left the yet unfinished fortress to their successors. the Hydro Archon, and with that, the people here stopped referring to the fortress as a prison. They saw themselves as repenting sinners who would regain their freedom once they had sufficiently redeemed themselves. But as time went on, people also realized that the fortress was a lonely place. Once they had gotten used to life here, they could no longer feel comfortable living in the overworld. Once they had finished serving their sentences, some people left and some others chose to stay. They'd find some idle position and let their withered souls fade away with the ancient secrets of the past. After many, many centuries, few people still remember the reason for the fort. Now and again, researchers manage to break one law or another and live out their days in the fortress. I learned all this from an elderly historian. Everyone else just thought he'd made it all up.
But now you know every part of that.
Indeed. It's just as the prophecy says. To be frank, not really. Prophecies are troublesome things. Let's go somewhere. This is it.
Блядь, ну что за нахуй гении, блядь? А, блядь, это труп ебаный. Нет, нихуя. Чел реально там бегал. Слева. Ну не хочу я играть, блядь, эту игру. Вообще не хочу отыгрывать. Ну от слова совсем.
Your Grace,
Блядь, ну это как
perfect
больно.
timing.
Ну, чувак,
The
у тебя
results
чел
from our last
справа,
round of
блядь,
experiments have...
топает, как тварь.
НДК пишет, почему в ТГ забанил.
Почему в ТГ забанил? Никогда никого просто так не баню в ТГ. Никогда. Получил бан, значит, заслуженно. С вероятностью 100%.
Конечно, часто чат читает, как по мне, это отлично.
Ну да, но ему насрать уже. Все, он больше не читает чат. Он не хочет играть. Он не хочет на стримы приходить.
Тише, по-моему. Кайсен пишет, нет.
Кто пишет?
Кайсен.
А,
Wait, Jurier, he's not.
Huh?
No need to panic, you two. I've already told them about our
Кайсен
plan.
немножечко и на это подзабил. Хотя, что бы он мне не говорил, блядь, но я же знаю, что он немножечко подзабил. Ты же знаешь, что я здесь. Почему не пикаешь? Бля, что? Найс, у меня, блядь, просто на ходу чел. Я не хочу играть эту игру, я не хочу играть, блядь, в эту залупу. Нас ебут 5-0, блядь, я не хочу играть в эту хуйню. Я не хочу играть в эту игру, блядь, теперь, блядь. Ну это что за пиздец? Я сказал, я не хочу играть, блядь. Чел, я как боженька сыграю, блядь. Какого хуя? Ну, блядь, это что за пиздец? Я играю против гандонов, нахуй, на серверах. Ну, меня насрать, я пошел фидить, блядь, мне похуй. Ну это кринж, блядь.
Сейчас будет справа.
И чел не пикает. Пиздец, блядь. Ну, сука, я кринжанул, нахуй. Ну, пизда, блядь. Я все, я фидить, блядь. 5-0, нахуй, нас ебут. Кринж, блядь, нахуй. Я серьезно, блядь, чуваки, ну это кринж. Ну это пиздец, блядь. Я ёбнутый сейчас минус получу, просто потому что челы увидели Gold 3, блядь, надо попотеть, чтобы получить большое количество ПТСов, блядь. Со мной запускается в пати чел, которому я заведомо говорю, что это проеб, блядь. Но он меня слушает, нет, я как боженька отыграю. Ну отыграй, блядь.
Бианка просит донаты чекнуть.
Что сделать?
Донаты чекнуть.
Донаты... Сейчас посмотрю, но донаты сразу появляются у вас на экране. Сейчас посмотрю.
НДК пишет, или дальше буду звонить.
Оу, 200 рублей. Спасибо, брат, за донатик. Спасибо за донат, брат. Сейчас. Край, слышишь, что? Если тебя забанил я, значит забанил по делу. Скорее всего, хуйню писал, блядь. С вероятностью 100% ты хуйню писал.
Кайсен спрашивает Пак Иосифа.
Что пишешь? Что спрашивает?
Пак Иосифа.
Пак Иосифа. Сейчас добавлю после стрима, после стрима говорю, после этого челикса пойдем. Ну кринж, блядь. Ужас. Нахуй. Вы можете быстрее, блядь. Мне уже похуй, я пошел на мид, блядь, фидить. Я не могу играть с этими уебанами. Ну невозможно играть. Я еле-еле отсюда вылез, блядь, чтобы потом снова к ним попасться. Алло, выкинь. Нахуй оно мне надо, блядь. Ну и все, блядь. Че выебываюсь? Мне дадут сейчас минус около 50, блядь, 60 нахуй, и все. Все потому, что я, блядь, против ебучих серверов потеющих тварей играю. Еблан, блядь, не может попасть, когда ты просто бежишь, когда ты играешь с ним, блядь, реально перестреливаешься. Он тебя, блядь, лапишь.
All right then, if your grace insists.
They seem harmless enough, so I'll trust them.
How about some reintroductions? This is Jurier, one of the highest ranked researchers. Good. Edwin's main area.
You.
Gotta admit.
Guys, focus!
Не дал,
Focus!
блядь, зажал меня.
That taskmaster over there is Miss Lorvine, and is also one of my technical.
Ooh, are they together?
See, everyone keeps asking this question.
Your Grace.
If I dated her, I'd officially.
Jeez, forget I said follow me.
Ну, блядь, вроде да. Сейчас посмотрим. Но я айдишник уже скопировал. А почему его донат не проигрался?
Whoa,
Сделаем так, чтобы он
there's
проигрался.
another door that goes right up.
Your constant amazement makes it seem like the fortress can do anything.
Красава, молодец, блядь, выбрался. Я тоже могу, но, блядь, выберешься сейчас вот так. А ты кто? Вау. Давай, иди сюда. Подожди, чё, блядь? Ты ж в бане, брат.
But Paimon really thinks everything's super
Вот этого
cool.
прикола я не понял. Мне чел задонатил, но он в бане
Let's
же.
spice it up a
Или
bit.
он каким-то чудом зайдет сейчас в игру. Давайте его инвайтнем. Но он не зайдет. У меня же чат идет.
And here you go.
Не читаешь.
А, у тебя идет?
Конечно. А ты не смотришь.
Нет, я смотрю, просто у меня не все комментарии отображаются. У меня
Во.
просто не комментарий от Анка, это я, и все.
What a
Анка.
huge ship!
Да,
This is also
Анка,
a
вижу,
production
вижу,
zone that
вижу.
Paimon's never.
How much do you know about Fontanian history?
Not much at all.
Я твой донат наконец-то произвел.
Well, then maybe you haven't heard the story of ancient Lemuria. According to legend, the Lemurian king Remus came to this land after being inspired by divine revelation and found the seers. He called his nation Lemuria.
There's a ship in this.
Where there's water, there'll be ships.
Do you believe that too?
То не зайдет, чуваки.
Не, реально, что за фигня? У тебя чат идет, а у меня нет. У меня ну, то, что вот про трусы последние, все. У меня не отображаются комментарии.
Значит, поставь фильтр. Типа все комментарии, они интересные. Там на ютубе такая есть тема. Ты что, не знал, блядь?
Когда я смотрю, у меня что-то отображается интересное сообщение.
Ну ты умен. Не, блядь, Анка, брат, ты чё? Что с тобой? Чё ты в бане-то? Ты ж не софт, блядь? Блядь, он софт! Мне задонатил софтер. Серьезно?
Сори за то, что... Короче, типа из Лиги там пишет, с которым ты играл этот Мунакт. И извиняюсь, то, что плохо отыграл.
Да, блядь, брат, я знал заведомо то, что нам попадутся пидорасы. Я знал об этом. Ты меня послушал? Нет. Это типа не с Легитом, это просто два потеющих гондона, которые увидели, блядь, ебучего голда 3. И такие, о.
As you've already seen, I have a whole factory's worth of labor, materials, and technology at my disposal. So the moment I began to speculate that the primordials...
Were you inspired by the legend?
Maybe. Fontanians need something to hold on to. We're the workers to find out the truth behind this ship. Rotten as the fortress's administrator, I'd never make such a reckless call.
Так, технически он может зайти, но не зайдет.
Технически да, с этим я соглашусь, что он может зайти.
Alright, that's enough talking for now. I'll need another 3 cups of tea to soothe my throat. Do you have any other questions? Seems like you're good.
Класс. Давай. Ждем Анку.
I'll leave you here for now. No worries. But don't forget, it's up to you whether or not you want to...
Yeah, we'll put a lot of thought into it.
Минус 12. Чего?
I look...
А из-за чего минус зрителей-то? 12 человек на стриме. Вы чё, охуели, блядь, парни? Лампы вы сидели же. А, 17 теперь. Нихуя. Так. На всякий случай еще раз донат посмотрел. А, охренеть.
Так, там донаты пойдем, у него хаос софтвер есть на его твинке.
Welcome back. Do you want a cup of tea?
Друзья, сейчас
You'd be so much like Risley, always drinking tea.
Сейчас, Кирюш.
Huh. While I was sedated, I could still barely hear 2 people talking next to me.
Давай.
They were discussing everything, from the leaves to the water and even...
Must have been Risley
Брат,
and
я надеюсь,
Seashore.
там не софт, блядь.
Yeah, I heard 1 male voice and 1 female, so...
I really can't. So, Traveler, Paimon. Were
Всё,
you
что у
able?
меня было, я всё
You
выкинул,
explained
правильно.
Very well. Then, would you mind checking your answers against my speculations?
Ага.
Yeah, I took the time to rest, so I'm feeling a lot more relaxed now.
Как бы тут мне чуваки задонатили. А ты, естественно, что? Естественно, нет.
Nobody else is around, and the siege...
All right, then I'll posit my theories. I asked myself 3 questions.
Всех, кто донатили, я всех добавил.
Так, Артёмка спрашивает, как твое здоровье и игры.
Да вроде нормально, брат. Завтра ролик уже выйдет, ну, точнее шортс.
Firstly,
Поэтому ждем,
why was
ждем,
Fremine
ждем,
affected by the
ждем.
primordial seawater? It was because he dove into the...
Ooh, he's good. He got that right on the first try.
Оцените аккаунт. Что там оценивать, чуваки? Что оценить? Какой аккаунт оценить? И не, если вы голды хотите...
That's our Lenny.
Дайте голды, блядь, я хочу
Secondly,
сет такой, какой собрать.
Risley's attitude changed dramatically during the course of our stay here. He ignored us completely at first, then suddenly roadblocked us.
Я бы сказал,
Why?
мизерная. Секунды 3, может.
I spent quite a long time thinking about this. What's more, the fortress, as long as the fortress doesn't do anything about Master Child's disappearance, Father can use it to pressure the Fontaine authorities. And while the two factions are pitted against each other, Wriothesley will be free to move. If I had to guess, he probably has something that he's working on himself. It's likely related to this.
You're super smart.
Давай, Янка, пошли. Пошли ебашить.
Think if Wriothesley does, that can't be the full extent of what he's doing. There's probably a secret passageway behind the block in the infirmary, and there's something big in the fortress that most people here never get to see. He has a bargaining chip, and it could be important enough for Father to deal with him directly.
Против нас софт, стараться в смысле даже нет. Ну, кринж, блядь. На голдах софтым. Ну, о, да, чуваки, он просто моих гайдов пересмотрел, на скилле разъебал, но. Просто сквозь стену, но. А, даже прострел не засчитали, чувак. Ну, вот это новый прострел, чуваки, да. Он просто слишком силен, нам этого не понять. Бля, я понял. Но это просто слишком парень силен. Я слишком слаб для него, чуваки. Что поставил? А, да, стрельбу и присед.
I don't have enough information, so I have no idea.
Блядь, да. Незачем вот мне реально эти гайды снимать, блядь. Это чуваки реально смотрели мои гайды, нахуй.
Well, could Wriothesley have wanted to meet Father to... If you remember, I want...
Or perhaps he didn't know.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
No,
I understand the two of you have already aided. If you ever need anything else, though you may not share the sentiment, after all that we've gone through together, the three of us basically see you as family now.
Прицел от моего эмулятора, поэтому вы его не увидите никак.
You have my gratitude.
No, силен. А, ну я тоже понял.
Thank you for protecting Lenny when it really mattered. And thank you for sharing the secrets of the fortress with us. We didn't think you were going to do it.
Why are you being so formal all of a sudden?
Все правильно.
Paimon's hungry.
Он так свайпится. Да, кивает головой. Парень просто на скилле с силой мысли задефал пачку.
Go get some food.
Хаос, как ты думаешь, стоит ли играть турнир с призывами 3К голды на команду для того, чтобы пробиться на более серьезные?
Нет, вообще нет, полная хуйня. С вероятностью 100%, что там черт с говном. Но это просто он сильный слишком, парни, поняли?
Так, Спиди на стриме говорил, что...
Кто говорил? Ну, Спиди нихуя не видел, и, естественно, я его прямой конкурент, ему это не нравится. А то, что его эмулятор кусок кала, блядь, и никому не нравится, и все его клиенты — это мои клиенты теперь. Ну, такое бывает. А и плюсом у Спиди есть, скажем так, не очень, ну, просто жесткая неприязнь на личностном уровне. Он меня ненавидит, поэтому, естественно, блядь, он будет пиздеть все, что ему в голову взбредет. Почему моя настройка говно? Аргументированно он это не объяснит. А я могу объяснить, почему его настройка говнище ебаная. никак. Ой, зря я это сделал. Просто на самом деле очень некрасиво со стороны Спиди так поступать. Почему, объясняю? Поскольку мы являемся как бы прямыми конкурентами. И просто так говорить, что моя настройка хуйня просто потому что, это бред. И я с ним такого не делал. Я говорил то, что Спиди это популяризатор наших приколов, кастомных эмуляторов имеется в виду, да? Не более. Ну, стриме мог подъебать то, что он этот фанат Евангелиона, и он долбоеб. Это все же понимают, что это просто шутка, блядь. Мне на Спиде, типа, всегда было похуй. Просто чел есть. У него есть свой особый вайбик.
Это все 25 фишек от
Бэм!
устали делать силой мысли экстрасенса.
Ну, блядь, да, чуваки, вам надо смотреть мои видосы. Вам надо смотреть мои видосы, чтобы вы играли так же, чтобы вы могли убивать сквозь стены, чтобы вы играли как люди, обладающие суперспособностью под названием телекинез. Вот видели? Он с помощью телекинеза убивал нас сквозь стены, дефал пачку. Это дорогого стоит.
Эх, да, говоришь, типы потеют,
Ну, типы просто сильно потеют. Видите? Бэм.
Это заразительно 100%
Из-за Standoff 2 в КС читаки? Чего? Нет. Нет, блядь, при чем тут КС и при чем Standoff 2, блядь? То, что существуют читеры, конечно. Игру легко взломать, блядь, поэтому и софты существуют.
Most humans could have the entirety of their fleeting lives chronicled in but a few short lines.
Похавали говна.
Their stories really make for terribly dull reading.
Смотрите на хуесосов. Два гандона. В пати они или нет, как вы думаете, ваши ставки в чат? На нахуй ебаный гол 2. Бэм. Отсосал.
В станке нету отдачи почти. Про какой телекинез идет речь?
Действительно, про какой телекинез идет речь? Убили тебя через 8 стен? Не, бля. Отдачи же в игре нет. То, что отдачи тут нет, это правда, да.
Personally, I think the idea of things staying the same forever is quite beautiful. But alas, that is simply not the way the world
Всё так и было,
works.
чуваки.
А, Лизард тебе 102 рубля закидывал на ТР.
Точно, блядь.
Красавчик, что напомнил.
Оп.
Так, как тебе настройка сквеза?
Ой, залупа.
Этот аккаунт ты уже записался, да?
Да, а что такое? Аккаунт оценить не успели.
Да.
Настройка сквеза, и вам объяснить очень веселый прикол. Во-первых, там никакой настройки нет, это раз. Два, это спизженный эмулятор спиди, и, ну, просто немножечко перекомпилен. И три, у сквеза есть один интересный прикол. Могу потом в нашу группу Elysuim закинуть этот момент, но это будет как разоблачение, человеку не понравится. Короче, этот человечек засунул фейковый FPS в свой видосик пиздатый. Он там под косарь с хуем FPS сделал, по итогу объебался там, где нужно включать диспетчер задач, чтобы показать, что у тебя параллельно нихуя не работает. И объебался именно вот в этом месте. Как бы бывает. Короче, у него просто прога была, блядь, вместо того, чтобы реально FPS показать, он объебался, блядь, в монтаже эту склейку видно. И, ну, есть дебилы, которые покупают по 2000, блядь, его эмуль, который столько не стоит.
Там баня за сквеза, за сенсу. Про я мог услышал.
Нет, это не из-за сенсы. За сквеза банят, потому что у сквеза фейковый FPS, блядь. Эта штука внедряется в файл, не только в сам BlueStacks, но еще и в станок, блядь, чтобы у вас был... У него стабильные 1000 кадров в банально главном меню. В главном меню таких кадров не существует. Ни на одном эмуляторе. Нигде. Ни у нас, ни у Спиди. Ой, блядь. Это просто наебка для уебка. Пусть Спиди больше въебывается на сквеза, блядь, а не на меня. На нахуй. С кем я запустился?
Это вообще в повседневной жизни-то iPad используешь?
Повседневный, да. С кем я запустился? Кто ты, блядь?
Так, у него есть фикс сенсей DL, за это банят. Типа как софт работает.
А это не фикс сенсы, чуваки, это просто... Что за нахуй? С кем я попался, блядь? Минус миллиард, блядь. Ну просто, что за бред, блядь? Я ж с тобой в лобби должен был быть. Что за бред, блядь?
А, ты перезаходишь, да?
Я не перезахожу, мы сдались.
А, да?
Да, чел сдался, блядь, он не хотел играть.
Так, цепочка чекнешь, я тебе...
Да иди нахуй, блядь, сука. Заебись, блядь. Берет, сдается, блядь. Что за крутые ребята? Цепочка чекнуть, ну кидай. Кинул, да, идешь на него?
Да.
Сейчас. Профиль. Легенда. Клантек говно. 800 фрейм часов, 9 кд. Ну типа дефолтный аккаунт. Ничего такого в этом нет. Нет, ну типа крутой аккаунт. Просто, ну красивый, ничего не скажешь. Просто обычный аккаунт.
Я просто не видел часы, я думал, там 5 часов, легенда, все.
Нет. У него почти косарь часов. Ну, скорее всего, парни обузили тут немножечко. Ой, сколько каток им отменили. Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой. Ай-яй-яй.
So delicious. Paimon's so happy. Paimon wants to feast like this every day.
Ну, пошли еще.
Поехали в пати на будем, да что-то получится.
Нихуя ничего не получится. Я ПТС с вами теряю.
Feeling full yet?
Ну,
How's
пошли
the
еще, блядь.
delicious?
Попробуй с рандомом сыграть.
I'm so
рандомом
glad to
еще.
see you all so happy. Oh, see, Dream? Do you do this to help your patients or to better understand human beings?
Все хорошо, здесь FPS, здесь все не срывается. Хотел сказать про настрой в спиде, меня сказали.
Настрой... Ну смотри, я тебе сразу скажу. У сквеза эмулятор это спиженный, блядь, спиди. Эмуль спиди, и все. Ничего такого.
Смысл тебе тратить время, если катка в ответе?
А катку не вернут, блядь. Ну типа, если что. Типа вот за это ПТС мне не отдадут обратно. Я ж четко понимаю, блядь, меня не вернут ПТС за это дерьмо. Очевидно, ну миллиард %. Ну регай, давай, новую игру. Там одних гандонов кидает. Я просто не понимаю логики этих ебаных сыновей шлюх, играющих, блядь, с Кламс, блядь, со всяким другим, блядь,
both, I suppose.
нахуя.
I'm a Melusine, which means
Зачем
I'm very
это
different
делать?
from
Какой
human beings.
смысл?
I must know what you're thinking if I
Что
want
вы
to
от
take
этого
good care of
получаете?
you.
Нихуя. Бред.
You're really good at Really? You reminded. Oh, and what? Oh, that. I just asked His Grace to. Thankfully, Colorand is very strong, and although the path was blocked, we still stationed some guards there to stop. Oh, and I was keeping an eye on Mr. Linney as well. You were all super considerate.
Сейчас посмотрим, может, блядь, с этим человечком покатаем.
Get a good night's rest, you two. You both worked
Ну,
very
аккаунт у
hard.
них, типа, ничем не примечательный, типа, ну, две легенды чистого.
Анка пишет, что типов чекал.
А, блядь, он же ливнул. Блядь, сомнительные типы. А что у тебя по победам?
Come on out.
А, ну заходи, какие-то бомжи.
Right now.
Далее он пишет, ну, этот, который легенда. Я могу на акцию потом зайти и с ним запуститься.
С кем?
Ну, с легендой.
Ну, блядь, и что с того? Типа, что я с этого сделаю? Ничего примечательного супер в твоей легенде нет. Фулл пачкой нормальных типов, и ты готов. Все.
У меня чел из ТР из бизнесу Скайерта забанили, а у него от 2017. Еще он с эмулятора СЕНСА хотел поменять.
Ой, блядь, почему мне прицел хотел?
Так, песен факт, что спидит настройки, и они...
Что за...
И они ничем не отличаются от нас.
Почему у меня прицел вверх летит? У спиди 3 настройки, и они ничем не отличаются? Вроде нет. Спиди, там что-то есть какие-то приколы. Но он просто его поделил на несколько частей, как будто. Просто какие-то приколы он сунул в эмулятор подороже. Стоит ли он стал денег? Нет. То, что у нас скоро выйдет, вы охуеете, блядь.
Так, софтвер, про который Кал только что говорил, мол, зачем играть говно? Вот ответ. Мне интересно получить много ЛМР и крутое здание, что вы берете?
So much. I'm on super. Delicious.
Out of my way! Get out of my way!
What happened? Why is everyone running?
No idea, but something must have happened. Stop asking!
Who's yelling? Paimon still wants to sleep.
Most humans could.
What happened? Why is everyone running around? Hey, what are you doing?
No time to explain, mate. Goodbye.
Hey, wait! What's wrong with these people? They won't even talk to us.
They're here! There you are!
Oh, thank goodness!
We still in Lavaroon. Do you know what happened here?
We came here especially to inform you. Something seems to have gone terribly wrong. Lavaroon was saying you two are new here and you don't have many friends, so you might slip through the cracks.
Wait, weren't you the one who brought that up? Why is it suddenly—
Hey, shut up!
Okay, whatever. The point is, you should... Yeah, he said to get as far away as possible, upwards and outwards.
Oh no, it can't be that thing!
Whoa, wait, what? What? Hey, where?
We have to go find the Duke! You two just go and get out! Go on without us!
Hey, hey! Be careful!
Attention, please evacuate upwards and outwards, upwards and outwards. If you're already at the topmost layer, then try... Attention, please evacuate upwards and outwards, upwards and outwards. If you're already at the topmost layer, then try to move as far outwards as possible. Attention, please evacuate upwards and outwards, upwards and outwards. If you're already at the topmost layer, then try to move as far outwards as possible. Attention, please evacuate upwards and outwards,
Traveling to other worlds is all that anyone seems to be writing about these days.
They're here.
Just like I said.
What happened?
You're just in time. But be ready to run. Three, two, one.
This won't hold it for long. Find Neuvillette. Tell him the defenses are about to collapse.
Then what will happen to you?
Until he arrives, we're the last line of defense. The gate. How long do you think it'll hold?
That depends on us.
Goodness no. Neuvillette? Why are you here?
Traveler, I need you to... Farina will soon be meeting with the knave there. You must protect Farina, and make sure she doesn't spend too much time... Will do.
Look! There are a ton of Batillion Are you two the Traveler and Paimon? Though I'm sure he's already explained, this should be a mostly cordial conversation, unlikely to give rise to...
Oh, so you two are the honored guests.
Of course, of course! How could they not attend a meeting such as this? I must always have to...
It is my pleasure to make your acquaintance, traveler. I have heard much.
I've already prepared seats for you. Come, sit beside me.
Perhaps you two are unaware of how Miss Farina and I do things. You see, we actually recently agreed to get together for tea when we had the time. See this? This is a limited type of confectionery that Miss Farina simply adores. There are only 16 slices sold every day. Here, why don't you and Paimon have a taste?
Traveler, what do you think of this cake?
That's good to hear. So what Child said was on the mark after all. I wonder how he's doing nowadays. You must have...
Since we're talking about him, I feel like I should add something.
Oh, so you're also familiar with his aptitude for fight against ordinary people my colleague would never be on the back foot. But alas, coming from you, that's not surprising at all.
But I thought you would be happier to hear the news.
Of course, but it's still a bit of a shame. You see, I would have been far happier had I received this news somewhat earlier. As you well know, a long time has passed since Child disappeared.
Well, in any case...
Oh, and just how do you know that?
Because...
And where did he go after leaving the fortress?
Well...
The fortress of Meripede lies... Ah, that is good news at least. His sister Tonya sent a letter to Fontaine not too long ago. Since he was unfortunately unavailable, I picked it up on his behalf. Do you have any idea how he usually writes back to his family? Dear Tonya, your letter made me feel like we were still enjoying our time in Snezhnaya together. I'm currently admiring the scenery on the streets in front of the opera house. Is it something like that?
All letters tend to follow the same few formats anyway, right? As long as... Hold on. The what?
I suppose this is also a sign of things to come.
Huh?
Have we entered into the next stage of the prophecy?
My thanks to you both. I will take it from here.
Sure you don't need a hand?
Quite sure.
Wow. So, what's your secret, huh? Let me guess. Nah, who knows? Maybe it's just your sense of responsibility.
Sounds about right.
The day may come when the prophecy is fulfilled, and the waters burst forth. But it is not this day! This ancient power could easily obliterate an entire race. The tsunami of fury would unleash endless catastrophe. This sentence is too severe. Forgive me for overruling it.
All right. Seems like the problem inside has been suppressed.
Let me guess. We're safe for now.
Indeed.
I win this bet.
Very well. It was indeed just as you said.
You made a bet?
We made a bet on the size of your entourage. Cloran thought you wouldn't come down by yourself.
I figured you would have...
Shouldn't you have gotten...
So what gift must the
That wouldn't happen to be a...
Well, I'm sure...
I was under the impression the residents of a place like this would be uninterested in the legal codices.
That was... Anyway, you've still got some...
No need to stay here if you have a pressing matter.
Thank you. I hope everything went smoothly with the...
I must say, we've spent long enough playing house, Miss Farina. As the Hydro Archon, I am sure you understand the exact meaning of the phenomenon we just witnessed.
What are you trying to say?
At this point, I don't think there's any more need to speak as diplomatic representatives. Allow me to speak to you now as just a Fontanian. You know the prophecy by heart, yet here you are, relaxing, drinking tea, and eating desserts as if it's all nothing more than a few stray bugs in your garden. Do you really think that's acceptable? The prophecy's hanging above our necks like a guillotine. Every faction is looking for a way to either avert the disaster or save their own. Even the orphan, but you? It beggars belief just how nonchalant and carefree you have been. From the very beginning, you, the god Focalor, you have utterly failed to take action.
You're wrong. I've never ignored the prophecy, nor have I just been passing the time in self-indulgence. Retract your accusation and stop doubting the wisdom of the gods with—
I am not alone in my doubts, you know. All the— Oh, great Hydro Archon. How are you going to save them?
I have my ways, and I've been working on them for all this time. Eve Fontaine will be saved. Even if I still cannot see the true future right now.
Then I ask you, Miss Farina, just what have you been working on? Where can we—
My machinations are just like the prophecy itself.
I see. As a god, the proof of your labor always— Allow me to be so bold as to ask another way. Would it be possible for you to tell us the parts of your plan that are not
An emergency response.
Oh, that look in your eye.
The emergency response plan is also strictly confidential.
Then allow me to jog your memory. Miss Farina, what is the purpose of your Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal? And what do you plan to do with the massive amounts of indemnitium that has accumulated over the years?
The Oratrice? It's just like it appears.
So you also have no idea. If I'm not mistaken, someone's using it to prepare for something. But unfortunately, it would seem that someone is not you. I first caught wind of this when Linny tried to investigate the Oratrice in the Opera House. You see, even just getting close to the core contaminated him with an extremely large amount of indemnity. But even if that had nothing to do with you, then what could you Oh, right. I almost forgot. Udex Nouvillette is not at the
Yeah, yes, that's exactly—
Of course I will. Although, I must say, Miss Farina, you seem quite insecure without the— Oh, very well. Let's stop that conversation here. There are still a few slices of cake left, so Traveler, I heard that you were recently commissioned to handle a few matters on behalf of the Udex. You too, Paimon.
Thank you. Oh, Paimon's super full. That cake was great.
If it's on my tea table, it must be of the highest quality.
You're welcome. I'm sure the cake also felt greatly honored to— it is getting late. Why don't we call it—
Very well. We'll end it—
Mind seeing me off, Traveler? We could use the opportunity to discuss Child before I must be—
Paimon's coming too!
The tea— Why are you looking at me like that? Is something the matter? If there's nothing urgent, then I shall be retiring for now.
I'm glad that you were willing to come with me. Of course, Child was...
That's what Paimon thought.
You lent your aid to the children of the House of the Hearth. As their father. Do I look like an irresponsible father to you? The House of the Hearth is very... That was all. Formal topics should be discussed in formal set. I know you just returned from the fortress of Meripede. Relax. I have no intention of trying to get anything out of you. Linny, Lynette, and Fremine are still...
They've all been working very hard and have always done all they can to fight back against anyone.
You mean Writhsley. He's a tricky one to deal with. By the way, and you can just consider this a bit of idle gossip, but what... You are outside of our disputes, and the freest person in all of Fontaine, able to move around...
And that's everything that happened during the trial. Master Child was declared guilty and immediately transported to the fortress of Meripede.
Didn't he say he was coming here on vacation? Does he not feel an ounce of shame for all the trouble he has caused? Forget it. He did give us an opportunity. I will be meeting someone...
Do you require help with that?
No need. I need to meet with Farina, the Hydro Archon. She is at the heart of Fontaine.
Oh? Come over here, you little critter, you! You dare to run from me? Stop right there!
My goal is just to discover the location of the Gnosis. But I didn't expect that anything left unguarded is usually just bait. But no one will blame someone for taking the bait. It's just as I guessed in the second before I struck. The Hydrognosis is not currently held by the Archon. In fact, this Archon doesn't seem like a god.
Who are you?
The fear in her pupils is genuine. So perhaps she's not bait after all. I left the scene with ease. Nobody came looking for me, and nobody could serve as a witness to my near assassination of Focalor. I suspect even Farina dares not mention this incident to anyone. Not long after, my informants confirmed what I had guessed. After returning to her quarters, there's no doubt that there's something wrong with her. I began to entertain the possibility that she is not. I have to find the Gnosis. If the Neuvillette hypothesis is correct, he is probably...
Yes, Father.
My dear
News from the fortress of Meripede. Master Child has gone missing. On top of that, the contacts and guards we bribed at the fortress have all gone...
Probably the handiwork...
I'm afraid so.
This is a good opportunity. The value of a Harbinger is much higher than most would... Set up a meeting for me. Oh, and I have an additional mission for you.
Yes, Father.
Tartaglia's disappearance was not a part of my plan, but I can use it to make a breakthrough. The initiative belongs to the House of the Hearth. My wish to investigate the fortress of Meripede. You should know the rest. Lenny's group is quite close to you, so they wouldn't have hidden anything from you.
You attacked the Hydro Archon?
It wouldn't mean anything, even if you shouted it from the rooftops. After all, even Farina herself... I've now had 2 chances to enjoy tea with Farina. I have to say, the leadership of Fontaine is even more inscrutable than I had imagined. I am a servant of Her Majesty the Tsaritsa. Over my years of service, I've learned how Of course, that is all just how I feel. It is, however, quite amusing to me that after all my years working in intelligence gathering, Don't you think Fontaine is quite intriguing? A catastrophe looms. Ultimately, though, one must survive. You don't need to commit to anything right now, of course. I have a feeling that the situation will continue to evolve, and as your name is often connected with noble deeds, I'm sure we will work together someday. He certainly returned quickly.
Neuvillette?
For now, yes.
but this issue will prove quite thorny in the long term. I'm concerned that sooner or later the prophesized events will occur. Thank you for protecting Farina. To put it simply, I used my power to force back the primordial sea and reseal the sluice gate. So as expected, the knave has turned up the pressure on Farina. She's trying to feel her out, though I'm still unsure as to her motives. Permission granted.
Whoa. It can't be that you're the real Hydro Archon, right? But that's just a speculation on our part, though. You can't tell us? Then that's okay. We can talk about something else. We won't try to force you.
If by the phrase "you guys" you are referring to Farina and I, then although I'm not sure just what you are trying to imply, I must clarify that I do not share her positions on a multitude of topics. I believe so. The fortress has a long and complex history. It has seen much grief and suffering. And now, another catastrophe will soon be upon us. I mourn this turn of events.
Huh? Why is it raining all of a sudden? You may be closer to the truth. Oh? And what are you thinking? The
Please do not be... Farina. My apologies.
We were just guessing randomly. We didn't guess right, did we?
You guessed correctly. I sincerely hope you'll be able to keep this a secret for me.
Right. Of course. There's still...
Please, go.
Well, if you are the Dragon Sovereign of Water, and you are... Then since Fontaine's prophecy is all about seawater, couldn't you just use your...
None of the currently living dragon sovereigns in the world, myself included, they say that when the first usurper arrived on Tivat, they seized a part of the dragon's power.
There are 7 elemental archons and 7 matching dragon sovereigns.
The dragon sovereign of water who lived through that era perished a long time ago. In any case, I believe I will not be able to do much unless the Archon disappears and returns their elemental authority. Given the status quo, however, I would...
Oh, so even you can't...
I still have some urgent matters to attend to at my office. If you have any more...
Please go right ahead. There's a place that Paimon wants to go too. Traveler, why don't we pay another visit to the Fortress of Meripede? Paimon is a little worried. We'll see you another time.
Take care.
Learn the safety rules by heart.
We're fine. But what about you guys? A few people sustained superficial injuries, but that's about the extent of the damage. Of course, how did Nervalet know that he... I'm sure Nervalet has strong resonance with the Hydro. I ran into the bombshell bros while bandaging the injuries of the wounded. They were mumbling the whole time about how if you're not too pressed for time, please stay with us a few more days. Just let me know if you get a craving for any particular dish, so I can have Mr. Walsey get your meals prepared. Oh, and please feel free to visit the infirmary for a break at any time. I'd like to take the opportunity to spend some...
You guys are back?
You guys didn't get caught and thrown back down here, right?
Huh? No, not at all.
And here I thought you'd managed to escape from jail during all the commotion. I'd held you up as
We're sorry, but we just had some business to take.
All right.
Hey, it wasn't just...
something like that, yeah. I was also transferred to work in the kitchen a few days ago. I can, whenever he'd say...
Hey, there's nothing wrong with worrying about your prison pals. Is there? I mean, considering how...
These two. They sure are a lot warmer and friendlier than when Paimon first met.
Oh, well, if you say so. I'll be watching you to make sure you finish every last bite.
Now guess, what suit will this next card be?
Well, well, look who it is.
Traveler, Paimon.
Looks like you're recovering nicely from it, eh?
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Oh, right.
Whoa, how did she react?
She told me that it was nothing.
She didn't want to stress you out, that's all. She's
Yeah.
Okay, but check.
You meant father?
She said a few things that were...
Her attitude towards you is even better than what we'd imagined. That's fantastic. You should believe her.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Paimon just...
Hey!
Are you going to...
Looks like it.
Excellent.
For real? Then Paimon wants...
Another implies that you were already served. Well, next time, you're going to have tea and...
Courier? Miss Sijwin told me you still haven't eaten.
Yeah.
That's no excuse for... Huh? It's you two.
Lurvine, we're back.
Hello there. It's been quite...
And you. Yep. That is still top secret, though.
It can be a bit annoying when there are lots of people in the...
I mean, the infirmary does make it easier for you to...
Oh, yeah? Then why are you also here so much?
You two really are just using your jobs as...
Not at all!
Do my eyes deceive me, or did I just see two inmates come back?
We wanted to see how the fortress is...
We're fine, for the most part.
If that's the case, why don't you just ask him to stay here?
Oh, yeah, what a brilliant plan. Let's go convince the Udex himself to exchange the Courts of... He came here in a hurry and left without even stopping for a cup of tea. He did remember to take Miss Sijween's gift with him, though.
He sure sounds...
Miss Cloran has left as well. She also took her gift from Miss Sijween.
Were the gifts milk...
Nervalette got the milkshake. Cloran received lipstick instead.
Those aren't even remotely alike.
Well, it's Nervalette's own fault for making Sijween worried about his health by working so much. Oh, and I have some gifts.
Are these from...
Nope, they're from yours truly. You've already wrapped up your work.
For real? Then we could stay here for a really long time?
You may access the cafe. Just remember to come...
We're back in our cell again. We're no longer prisoners, though, so it really doesn't feel the same. Being free sure. Huh? How did you know? Hey, that's not true! Alright. It's like we've now gone to so many places together and become friends. There are so many bad things in the world, and we're just two people, but you're counting Paimon today? Aren't you the only adventurer here? Then let's ask Catherine to give Paimon an adventurer handbook as well! Just our thoughts making Paimon giddy. The last time we fell asleep here, we woke up to a whole mess outside our cell. The primordials... We should be safe now, right? Alright then, good night to you, traveler!
Personally, I think the idea of things staying the same forever is quite beautiful. But alas, that is simply not the way the world works.
I'll think about it.
There'll be an extra.
Add Astra. Thank you for Add Astra.
Exactly, but none of them believed me.
Most humans could have the entirety of their fleeting lives chronicled in but a few short lines. Their stories really make for terribly dull reading. Most humans could have the entirety of their fleeting lives chronicled in but a few short lines. Their stories really make for terribly dull reading. Traveling to other worlds is all that anyone seems to be writing about these days. Goodness knows what they find so disappointing about their own world. Personally, I think the idea of things staying the same forever is quite beautiful. But alas, that is simply not the way the world works. Most humans could have the entirety of their fleeting lives chronicled in but a few short lines. Their stories really make for terribly dull reading. Traveling to other worlds is all that anyone seems to be writing about these days. Goodness knows what they find so disappointing about their own world. Personally, I think the idea of things staying the same forever is quite beautiful. But alas, that is simply not the way the world works. Most humans could have the entirety of their fleeting lives chronicled in but a few short lines. Their stories really make for terribly dull reading. Personally, I think the idea of things staying the same forever is quite beautiful. Ah, but alas, that is simply not the way the world works. Most humans could have the entirety of their fleeting lives chronicled in but a few short lines. Their stories really make for terribly dull reading. Traveling to other worlds is all that anyone seems to be writing about these days. Goodness knows what they find so disappointing about their own world. Personally, I think the idea of things staying the same forever is quite beautiful. Ah, but alas, that is simply not the way the world works. Most humans could have the entirety of their fleeting lives chronicled in but a few short lines. Their stories really make for terribly dull reading. Personally, I think the idea of things staying the same forever is quite beautiful. Oh, but alas, that is simply not the way the world works. Traveling to other worlds is all that anyone seems to be writing about these days. Goodness knows what they find so disappointing about their own world.